If I decide I've gone too far, I did too much, I save the elements I think are worth saving, I destroy the elements I think are not shifting properly, and I start to develop a shape within a shape again, using white as a color. If I take the bottom out, I start to reestablish the idea of a painting, which we're eventually going to take and do a distortion from this on another piece of paper in the next section, and showing you how this will deliver you the painting. This is simply the idea. That's what a drawing is. A drawing is not complete. It's not like you're in the 1600s. The drawing is your signature. It's how you think. You think through line and plane and form and position. You don't have to draw very well, although it helps. Now, the very essence of her is still sitting in here, but well hidden. Yes, indeed. Okay, now I lift it back. By bringing the idea of this back over the top here, letting it go under there, back on top here, letting this become a dividing line, moving it across the plane, up, down, round. Now every time you play with these, and you can, when you're dealing with the drawing in simple mediums, you notice this pastel isn't forming a lot of dust because I'm mixing it. Okay, so far so good. Now, what I need is something really reasonable. So now the idea or the energy of abstraction based on the elegance of the model and her energy. She's a pulse of pure creativity. You just see the way she holds her form. This is an over-activated idea of that, because that's my nature. Each painter will sword to their own nature. The difference between the way I do it and a lot of people do it is I tend to have an organization when I'm done. I can't say that for a lot of painters. Pulling the white plane up or submitting is almost like the sense of you're pushing the abstract form into a wall, and you're pulling the wall around it. Now, there's nothing new about that. It actually, the first one I know that stimulated that concept is Titian. Everybody knows the story with him. He would paint the complete nude and then cover it with white, and then repaint the nude again. So everybody said, well, why did he do that? I said, well, he got the eyes wrong. The real reason he did it was over time, the aging process created luminosity. And that was the big secret of Titian that separated him from a lot of the painters in his period. He also broke, because of his teacher, the linear line. Like Botticelli kind of ruled the world at some point with the sensuousness of that line. Giorgione came along, took his thumb, and pressed the line into the ground and created mass. So out of that mass, a whole different attitude came along. That didn't change much until around 1800 and something when Cézanne started working with planes. And then the plane began to substitute the line. Now you guys are in a whole different world where you're using the line as an active agent with the plane and with the mass, which is what I just did. So this is more of a 21st century thing. You see elements of it in some of the New York school, but not too much. de Kooning, Alfred Leslie are the two best I've seen so far. And probably a whole lot more. Now, every distortion in tone and color and push-pull of a plane creates a sense of movement, hopefully. Of course, you never know. That simple act of a soft pinkish red at the bottom enhances all the red throughout the paint. Now that's how simple it is. So everybody can do that now. All right. We won't wipe this out because I'm going to simplify it even further when we do the painting. And I'm going to paint from this. This becomes the beginning of the language of the abstraction that I'm going to try to proceed, but change it even further. And as we do that, we begin to understand the value of not being too mechanical, not placing things too quickly, and not allowing pure color to be too early in the work until you have settled on the idea of what the color is. Now, color, for all of you to realize, is the real painting today. We cannot deny it. If I could get away with just painting black and white, I would never use color. Because it's quicker, it's more dramatic, it feeds my sensibility of the unknown and mysticism. But the reality is, if you're going to be a painter today and you're going to survive the world that you're living in, God help us.
Yeah.
You're going to have to understand how to develop your color so that it has the same essence that you would have in a black and white. And that's where your gamble is. That's where your battle is. And with that battle, you will create elements in art that supersedes everything before you. We can no longer, as much as I love it, can live in the 1600s. It's a nice place to visit, but you can't live there. First of all, you die by the age of 54. Okay, now, let's touch this up again, just to be obnoxious. And we'll peel this off, and then take a break, and then we'll do the painting. Because I know you're bored by now. Right? Better than a movie. I need white paint. White.
Do you need gesso for anything?
No, the gesso, I'm trying to get something a little more solid, so it's a little harder to deal with. It's too easy. I want them to know more than I do. Nope. Little devils. I was squeezing one of these tubes one time, it went right in my eye.
Ooh. That's not
Nice.
good.
Now, like with most painters, I get a little tired of this and I just cut the end off. Okay, See if I get any of that up there, a little bit anyway. Bring that up just a little bit. Oh, did you hear that? We have a stiff brush at one of my students told me. You leave it soften. Who? Yeah, fabric softener.
Oh.
Just thought I'd give you that, just in case. Flatten it out, flatten it out. Now, everything, including black and white, is a color to a colorist. Science has no value to a painter. They don't care if it's the absence or the absorbance of color. It's irrelevant. It is the temperature of the white versus the temperature of the black which helps create the light. And you can warm a white or cool a white by adding a little cool color or a little warm color. Now, when I was with Mason, we used to paint, we used to add a little yellow to the paint. He would come by and say, you don't have to do that. In time, it's all going to be yellow anyway. Because we're painting with lead, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let it go. You guys take a break and then we'll do